Garza Law, Tennessee Baseball Extra Innings, presented by the Garza Law Firm, online at garzalaw.com. Call in 865-200-5402. That's the TLD Logistics Hotline. We're live after every super regional game. tclub.team, X-Spaces, Twitch, and YouTube. Back with you as always, Will Heflin. Tennessee drops game 1 in Fayetteville to the Arkansas Razorback Hogs. 4-3. Tennessee had 2 hits in the game. They were both homers. One of them was a solo shot in the 9th by Andrew Fisher. One of them was a 2-run homer by Dean Curley. Arkansas had 1 homer in the game. It was a 2-run shot. 84 miles an hour off the bat to left field. Might be the lowest home run exit velo I've ever seen, but that gave them a 3-2 lead. They tacked on one, I believe it was the 6th or the 7th. A 2-out single by Charles Davalon when Brandon Arvidsson first came into the game. Tacked that one on, made it 4-2 at the time. Zach Root was unbelievable for Arkansas. I mean, kind of a tip-your-cap type of performance for that young man. Tennessee hit him pretty good a couple weeks ago. He was dialed tonight. I don't know that I've seen him up to 98. He reared back for 98 to strike out Andrew Fisher. And he was cruising 93, 94, just constantly ahead in the count, and reared back for 96, 97 with 2 strikes and was able to live at the belt. And then Gabe Gackle closed it out for Arkansas. Phillips kind of had to labor, but did a really good job getting 2 double plays, keeping them, at bay. He dealt with a lot of traffic. And then Tony Vitello went to Dylan Loy. He faced 1 hitter. Then Krenzel faced 1 hitter. And then Arvidsson threw an inning and a third, and then Tanner Franklin threw the 8th. Arkansas did not have to come to bat in the 9th. So Tennessee will play game 2 tomorrow. Liam Doyle will be on the mound for the Vols. Gage Wood will be on the mound for the Razorbacks. Tennessee will have to win to keep their season alive and force a winner-take-all game 3. With that, let's go to the phones on our TLD Logistics Hotline here on Garza Law Extra Innings. Welcome in.
Well, it's Dave. How you doing, Will?
Hey, Dave.
Hey, they made Super Regional, and
They did.
that's successful season,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm happy. They're only 4 SEC teams advanced to Super Regional, so now at most it looks like only 2. At most only 2 SEC teams can make the College World Series because Auburn's out. And we'll probably be out. So that leaves Arkansas. We may just get 1. That'd be incredible.
Well, LSU won today. I think they're probably in good shape.
Who's that?
LSU won today against West Virginia.
Right. LSU and Arkansas. Well, but yeah, you're right. Sorry, I forgot they won like 16-4 or something. You can't. Your 3, 4, and 6 hitters in our lineup since the Arkansas series. 3 weeks ago. They're 23 of 130. And Inslee has 11 of the 23 hits.
What's that average, Dave?
I think it's 176 with composite bats. It's not good.
No.
Not your 7, 8, and 9 hitters. Your 3, 4, and 6 hitters. It's not good.
Mm.
And no homers. And, I mean, it's just out of those 3, Inslee's just been, I mean, he was up there back close to 370. He's back down in the 330s. Vargo's all the way down below 280 now. It's just, I guess Tony's just going to roll with it. I guess he didn't have much choice. And it's just, it's been, hey, listen, they made the Super Regional. they have a chance to win tomorrow, but it's winning on after day 2. It's been a struggle with this team, and we'll see what happens. But I just if the hitting 2 hits and 2 walks today, I mean that's just not gonna you're not gonna win many games like that. And then Curley gave him a run. Will he did?
Yeah,
it's a play he's got to make.
He got us 2 though.
Yeah, he did give us 2, but I tell you what, he barely got us that one, and he let a fastball go right down the middle, right by him, took it, and then he got the backspin on that breaking ball, and it barely went out. Otherwise, it would have been worse. But he's got to catch that ball. He's got to at least get one out there, and that would have taken away a run. But I've never seen a home run at 84 velo. I've never seen that ever.
It had to be gusting out to left field. I mean, it's 320. It's the same as Tennessee's. 84 miles an hour?
I don't see how it's possible.
I don't either, unless that was a misread, but it was. I mean, that's what was on the screen. So
crazy. Well, hopefully win tomorrow, and at least there'll be some suspense on Monday.
Yeah, no doubt. Thanks for the call, Dave.
Have a great day. Bye.
See you. Bring in our next caller right away. Knew we had to talk to Nega Dave first and foremost. Welcome in. You're on the TLD Logistics Hotline.
Hey, Will, this is Steve.
Hey, Steve. You said Steve, right?
Huh?
You said Steve, right?
No, this is E, South Georgia.
E.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So the way Nega Dave was going, I didn't think any SEC teams were going to make the College World Series. It kept going down and down. And,
the numbers are dwindling. Yeah, it's at most 2. It's at most 2. Guaranteed 1. I'd be surprised. I'd be surprised if LSU doesn't win. They were up 1.
I would too.
Yeah.
I can live with whatever result we get on the diamond. This team to get there and win the regional and make it to the Super for the 5th time in a row, especially with the season that they've had. To me, that's great, and everything from here on is house money. Mm-hmm. But these umpires today, I'm going to say a word about these turkeys. This guy, he comes out there to warn Marcus Phillips about something. I guess
the eye contact. He's got to engage the hitter before he comes set.
Yeah,
it's a new rule. They've been a stickler about it this year. It's because of the pitch clock. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then Alex Root 2 times mouthing at Fisher,
mm-hmm.
and the second time all the way down the first base line. Cannon Peebles got thrown for less, and for this, both dugouts get a warning. What? The dugouts get a warning? What the F is this? What are you talking about? I'm sorry. That is absolute horseshit.
There's
that
zero.
Been run.
There's zero guideline. There's zero rule. It's all subjective.
And that was the second time he did it.
And I said the same thing.
Yeah.
When it happened live, because I personally have zero problem with what Zach Root did. You want to walk the walk? You did, and you got out our guy, and everybody knows how Andrew Fisher acts, and he got him. 3 at bats. He even accounted for an extra out. He got him to ground into a double play. I got zero problem with that. But at the same time, you're thinking back to last week, and you're like, man, it'd be nice if our catcher was playing today. Because if you compare the two, and you can't because it's different crews, different circumstances. But still, there's no continuity. There's no rule.
Exactly.
And because baseball has zero in-game penalty that hurts your team and directly affects the score, that it's all subjective and it's supposed to police itself. It doesn't do that because guys can't wear one anymore. Everybody gets ejected if you come out of the dugout. Benches don't clear anymore. We're at a very weird teetering point, and this crew came into the game immediately. You could tell from the jump they were wanting to play sheriff, and you knew it was going to be chippy.
I think they were.
That's not the right way to go about it. When you know it's going to be a chippy, emotional series, you cannot go about it in that way.
Well, they certainly were. They certainly were towards Tennessee, and again, listen, Arkansas had traffic on the bases all day long. We're lucky that it wasn't a whole lot worse than it was. The one thing too, I'll say in Marcus Phillips' defense, he did pretty darn good. Yeah, I think if Dean Curley knocks that one down and we get a chance, well, I go back. Wait a second. We had one man on, 2 outs, and 2 strikes, and it went from that to they get a 2-run shot and took a 3-2 lead. Right? Like doggone it.
No. It was 2 outs, nobody on, 4-pitch walk, first pitch, next batter, 2-run homer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like dadgummit, right?
I know.
Right there, you got a chance to get out of the inning. And the other thing I would say for our hitting today, it just felt like our guys weren't really seeing the ball. They made some contact, but when it did, every one of them either died in the infield or popped up into the outfield. We couldn't have a nice soft hit over the second baseman to drop in for a base hit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It was a tough day hitting for us, but
it was. I'm telling you, Zach Root was dialed. He was dialed in, man.
He was.
He was dialed. He was. But we'll see.
Anyway,
the umpiring stuff. Yeah, appreciate the call, Tom, man. The umpiring stuff, I'm so over it. They're so bad. The strike zone was god awful. He was flipping a coin, and later in the game, I will say it evened out. There were a couple in that Keelan at bat where he ended up walking that he could have easily rung him up on. And Dean got one in one of his earlier at bats. Not the home run at bat, but the one before, where he called one basically belt high and it was kind of in. He called it a ball, and I was like, okay, that was probably a strike. And then the next pitch was way down, and he calls it a strike. And I'm like, all right, this guy's got no clue. And it was just teacup the entire day for Phillips and everybody else. I'm telling you, Marcus Phillips, the 2-out walk and then the homer hurts, but that man battled his rear end off today. He really did, because nothing came easy. There was traffic. He got some big double plays, and we turned them. Like, it was overall a solid baseball game. We just could not get anything going offensively, and that happens from time to time. And I know as a program under this coaching staff that it happens very rarely to this offense. But it does happen, and today we ran into 2 very good arms the first one was really, really dialed in, and like Dave was talking about, we've got some guys in the middle of our order who are just struggling like really bad, and we're coming into the series and it hadn't seemed to got a whole lot better. Let's go back to the phones. Garza Extra Innings, you're on the air.
Hey, Will, it's Andrew.
Hey, Andrew from Maryville. How are you, brother?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Pretty frustrating. I thought Phillips gave us about as much as he could have. I think,
yeah.
What did he do? 5 1/3, 3 runs. I think that's about what any of us could have expected. I mean, there's still a lot of positives for tomorrow. I mean, you got Doyle and Russell sitting and waiting in a do-or-die game. If they get more runs off those 2 than we can get off them, they deserve it, because everybody out of our bullpen did well. Arvidsson looked good. Franklin. We should have plenty of arms tomorrow, and you can't win 1-0. You got to score.
100%. I'm glad you brought up Russell, Mr. Andrew. Is he available tomorrow, or now knowing you have to go to Game 3? I would like to not throw him if I didn't have to, but I do understand that there is no Game 3 if you don't win Game 2. So, yeah. What are you doing there?
You just gotta play it by ear, I guess. I mean, you were right. Root was just on fire. That's a top 50 draft prospect that was locked in the biggest game, and we got to have our guy do that too. And if Doyle can get us 7, I think I'd trust Arvidsson. Maybe not tomorrow, but if we got to hit the ball, get Doyle a 2 or 3 run lead, and hopefully he can get us 7 or 8. And then, yeah, you're right. Save Russell for Sunday. But I honestly, I know Russell's the guy we'd like to go to Sunday, but
Well, we lost Andrew from Maryville. Maybe he'll call us back. Garza Extra Innings, you're on the air.
Hey, Will.
Hey.
Well, guys, we came to battle. We came to Fayetteville to battle, that's for sure. We took the lead with our first hit.
We did.
They had traffic every inning, and like you said, Phillips battled. The whole team battled. I didn't get to really hear much of Dave's call, but I'm sure he covered the black hole that is Bargo and Chapman in the middle of our lineup.
You would be correct.
At least, with Chapman, you get a really, really top-notch right fielder and strong arm. I talked to you last week, and we actually talked. You actually were suggesting making a move with Bargo then. We know that he's not going to that Tony V's not going to make a move with Bargo, but I do think it's on the table now with another slow start tomorrow that he could get pinch hit pretty early.
If it were a lefty, I would say maybe, but
That's true.
with Wood being the right-handed starter, I would be more than appalled if we see a different starting lineup. Now, if it's late and he's over 3 with 2 strikeouts and a rollover, like at some point you got to do it if the situation comes up. But I say that, and then he maybe not. So I don't know. I feel terrible for Bargo because he got going so well and really solidified. Early in the year, I thought he was going to get pushed to the bottom by these talented freshmen, and I was like, man, I really don't see where he's going to play. And he forced himself into it. When Keelan got hurt, that gave Bargo an opportunity, and he ran with it. And I love him as a human being and as a player. He's a good player, but he is so struggling. And Chapman the same way, just like two guys that really that you can't say lost it or haven't found it. Like, that stuff doesn't exist. But it's a game of confidence, and you have to have confidence, and they certainly don't look like the same conviction is behind their swing. Maybe there's a technical issue. Maybe it's trying to do too much, but it's a really hard game, and it just seems like when guys are struggling, it's hard to kind of get out of. So they need to those two guys may need to do something in the hotel room tonight, some sort of like I don't know, roll the dice. I wasn't gonna go there, but maybe switch up the post game dinner, something like that. As long as it's PG, right?
Right. I heard the tail end of y'all's conversation, the last caller, about the arms tomorrow. Of course, we'll go Doyle. I think we'll come right behind lefty Doyle with righty Russell tomorrow, all in to win that game.
I think you're probably exactly right.
And I think we limited Arvidsson's pitches today because we're planning on either using an opener for Game 3 and then going to Arvidsson, or just starting Arvidsson straight out Game 3.
Yeah, I would lean towards opener, but extended outing for Arvidsson, just as long as he can go if you get to Game 3. 100%.
One thing that gets lost, and I don't want it to get lost, Fisher's on base streak this year is pretty incredible.
Incredible.
He gets on base every game.
Plus 5 from last year.
Pretty incredible.
Incredible. And he was about to break it and hit a home run. So he made sure that it didn't matter where he hit it, no one was going to catch it, because they do not ever put a fielder behind the fence. They don't shift. No. They don't shift out of the ballpark. That was a laser too.
I don't feel discouraged. I mean, we're down 1-0. We're at Fayetteville, but we knew it was going to be tough coming in.
Yeah. Had you thrown Doyle tonight, it's a totally different conversation.
Here. You could feel the nervous energy in their stadium in the ninth inning. It's there to be had.
You could. We win tomorrow, I feel okay. We win tomorrow, I feel like we got a puncher's chance. And, I know Phillips gives you a great chance to win, but saving Doyle for Game 2, I know it was probably for rest, and Vitello would have liked to have done anything possible to win today. I mean, he threw a ton of our good bullpen arms, probably the most trusted as of late in Arvidsson and Franklin and Krenzel and Loy. But knowing that you've got Doyle game 2 to get it to game 3 and then see what happens. Like, we're having a totally different discussion if Doyle would have started today's game and we lost 4-3, right? We would all be hitting the panic
and we get
button.
Peebles back tomorrow too.
We get Peebles back
tomorrow. There's a lot of
tomorrow
reason
as well.
to be optimistic.
There is.
Speaking of what you just said, I'd completely forgotten about this. How much of us going from one arm to the next, one batter at a time, do you think there was any of Tony V that was just trying to keep Root in the dugout for a long time right there?
I think that's a side effect. I don't think it's the reason for doing that. But
Yeah.
it's definitely not a reason not to do it. It's certainly a thing. But also he's trying to play matchup and make sure that they don't bust that thing open right there, which they almost did, but they didn't. So gave up 1 run in that inning and used 3 arms, kept Tennessee, in punching range.
Yeah, I think we're right there. I think tomorrow we win. It's anybody's series. I feel pretty good about it. I'll talk to y'all later.
All right, brother. Appreciate the call. I'm kind of in the same boat. We win tomorrow. Having an interesting conversation setting up game 3, but you do have to win tomorrow, and that Arkansas team is they hit Doyle before we hit Root. Root had a big bounce back outing. You need that from Doyle, and I think Tennessee will get a good outing from Doyle. We'll be right back on the other side of this break. We will take more of your calls on the TLD Logistics hotline. The first ticket punch to Omaha, Coastal Carolina. How about that? We'll check on other super regionals right on the other side.
Get you back to the action here momentarily. It's Garza Law Extra Innings, presented by Marcos Garza and your Garza Law firm. Online at garzalaw.com. Marcos and his team are your go-to law firm for a myriad of disciplines. When it comes to DUI defense, criminal defense, personal injury, Social Security, or disability, you want to deal with folks that are of, by, and for our community. People that you will see in Lindsey Nelson Stadium when the Vols are playing baseball the rest of the spring and into the summer. Treating clients like family. Don't you dare trust anybody else. Available 24/7 at garzalaw.com. Also presented by our friends at VIP Play. 200 leagues to wager on. All your favorite types of bets. The Eagle, ladies and gentlemen, in the state of Tennessee has landed, and the betting space will never be the same. Whether it's VIP Players Club sweepstakes offered monthly, whether it's Bet Assured in Tennessee or the VIP Guarantee, you got to check it out and see what Will Heflin is talking about, because I'm telling you, this man continues to get up, get in here, and do this program. So go over to VIP Play and give VIP Play a shot. Use the promo code TNTony when you do it. Again, TNTony. Bet $5 or more. You'll get your $100 bonus bet instantly. TNTony. Gambling problem? 800-889-9789. 21 and over, and located in the state of Tennessee to place a bet. Of course, Will Heflin has a baseball problem, but that's another story for another day. Also, a special shout out today to our friends at Rather and Kittrell. RKCapital.com. Start planning your future today at RKCapital.com. Personalized financial planning, disciplined investment strategy, ongoing guidance and partnership. RK Capital can help you in so many ways. And we're also presented by our friends at Calhoun's. Calhoun's, your taste of Tennessee. Leave the cooking to us all baseball season long. When you're getting together for your Tennessee watch parties, Calhoun's is a wonderful thing. When you want to grab something to or from the ballpark, it's always fresh. It's always going to be wonderful. It's available for pickup near you. And remember, Friday home games mean we're live, and we'll be with us some down at Calhoun's on the river. It's phenomenal. Like Hunter Ensley says, Calhoun's, we're champions feast. Or does he say we're champs feast? At any rate, It's the taste of Tennessee. Now let's get back to more on our TLD Logistics phone line. Online at tldlogistics.com. Load those phone lines up at 865-200-5402. That's 865-200-5402. Here he is. Ladies and gentlemen, here he is, Will Heflin.
Back with you on Garza Law Extra Innings. Matt Dixon, welcome in, good sir. How are you?
Been a little better, obviously. You're not going to win many games when you only get 2 hits. Although you made them count, but that's just not going to get it done in postseason baseball. It really doesn't matter who you have on the mound.
It was efficient. It was efficient. 8 total bases on 2 hits is efficiency, but you're right, not enough. Let's check around, okay? So Miami and Arizona both won today. That forces a winner-take-all Game 3 in the Louisville Super and the Chapel Hill Super. Duke won Game 1 against Murray State today, so they have a 1-0 lead. Coastal sweeps Auburn in Auburn. Today's was 4-1. Coastal Carolina's going back to Omaha. Last time they were there, they won the whole thing. Oregon State and Florida State go Game 2 at 9 p.m. Florida State was up 4-1 last night in the 9th and blew it. So the Beavers are up 1-0. Let's bring in our next caller. Matt Dixon and I hanging out with you on Garza Law Extra Innings. Welcome in.
Hey, Will. Greg down in Middle Tennessee. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, Greg. I'm good. How are you?
I could be better, like all of us.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, you can't win many games with just 2 hits, as Matt just made obvious. But
good point, Greg. Good point.
I just I don't understand. I haven't played baseball at this level, but you're in a super regional to go to the World Series to defend your title, and you got guys at home plate that just look tentative. I don't know what the deal is about that. I've never noticed a team's batters that look like Tennessee. And when it comes to Bargo, I hate to be the man or one of the men to say something about that young man, but sometimes you got to bite the bullet as a head coach. I know he said a lot of guys' names that they're his guys, but you got to bite the bullet in this situation. Bargo, that last at bat, he had a pitch down the middle and missed it, and he's had several like that. I was trying to remember, did he have any bat contacting the ball today?
Yeah, he did ground ball to third.
Is that all he had?
I can't remember his other bats. I know he had at least 1 strikeout.
But, he made contact and hadn't played hardly any. Bargo, I don't think he made contact, did he, today? I don't know.
He reached on error. He scored on the Curly home run.
Oh, the error.
They probably could have ruled it a hit. It was 104 off the bat, but it did hit the guy in the glove.
But I don't see. I don't know about his swing. That last ball that came in there and he struck out on, it was down the middle. You couldn't have asked for it to be any better. And never touched it. So I don't understand that. But you got to look at all your guys, how they performed in the last at least 4 games, and add on this one to those 4 other games. You got to do something in that batting order. 2 hits, it's just not going to go. I don't get it. And for everybody wondering about the pitch calls, I saw a video on Twitter from 423 VOL. He put together 2 pitches by Phillips and 2 pitches by Root, they were caught all at the same area, and guess who got them the strike?
Yeah.
Wasn't the guy in orange and white.
Yeah. StatCast on ESPN, you can watch in real time, and it's connected to the TrackMan that's in the stadium, so you can see balls and strikes based on that data versus what the umpire calls. So I'm not going to sit here and beat a dead horse over it. Marcus had he had to throw it down the dang keyhole to get anything called today. And I will say that he was kind of bad for them at certain points, but most of the game it was much wider for the home team. But Phillips did a great job of battling, and that I don't know what conference this crew is from. It's not an SEC crew, from what I can tell. Maybe I missed a close up on TV to see what conference that crew is from. But usually in the NCAA tournament they shift them around and bring them in. So they were bad.
After the first inning, I tweeted out, if Phillips continues to get his pitches called where they've been called in the first inning, only Coach Vitello will be getting a warning. And the second inning that happened.
Yeah.
So people need to look at this video, 423 Vol on Twitter. I mean, it shows you where the catchers caught him, and it's the same spot. You can see by watching the video. And 2 of them were called balls by Phillips. 2 of them were called strikes by the Arkansas pitcher. That's pathetic. I don't care who's umpiring. You're in the super regionals. I don't care how ruckus the crowd is. Home plate umpires should not be, whatever the word I'm trying to come up with,
directly impacting
by the yell
out.
of the crowd.
Yeah. Oh, you're saying they shouldn't be persuaded? I got you.
Persuaded. There you go.
100%. Well.
But thanks for taking my call, brother. I enjoy your show.
Yeah, man. Have a good one. Thanks for the call. Matt, you're in Fayetteville, brother. What did V have to say after the game?
I actually didn't stick around for V's presser tonight. Wanted to get out of there fighting the traffic.
Smart.
But he was very animated during the game about the strike zone. Even Coach Elander at third was vocally upset about it, and that almost never happens.
Not almost, Matt. That never.
I mean, even he was upset in letting it be known about the strike zone. So, which lets you know how bad it was. But yeah, it probably didn't cost Tennessee the game, I don't think. But it certainly wasn't good. But I did think Phillips was really good getting out of those jams early and getting a couple of double play balls. Those were big early. Game could have been over there in about the 5th inning. But you battled and even took a lead. I knew when Tennessee took the lead. And then in the bottom of the inning, Arkansas had the top of their order up, and Phillips got 2 quick outs. I remember thinking, "There's no way this is going to happen because this team hasn't done this all year with these shutdown innings." And unfortunately, it wound up costing them 2, and they never could recover from that. But
so what I'm hearing is that we can blame you, Matt, for speaking that into existence. Is that what I'm hearing?
Oh, I will certainly wear that one, yeah. Because I put it in a text group with Tony that I was like, this team just does not do shutdown frames, especially with who Arkansas had coming up. Unfortunately, that turned out to be right. But
speaking of text groups, I'm not going to say what I was thinking about saying. Let's go back to the phones. Garza Extra Innings, welcome in. You're on the air.
Hey, it's Andrew calling back. Sorry, I don't know what happened earlier.
Hey, you left with a bang. I mean, it just kind of, and then you were gone. Yeah. So I was like, all right.
I don't know.
See ya.
I talked for a while, and then it was silent. I thought maybe he cut out, but no. I was just saying earlier. I was actually going to ask a question. It doesn't matter because we need both guys, but I was just curious who you would have a little more trust in right now, Russell or Arvidsson? If it came down to like a 3 or 4 inning, get me out of this game, who would you prefer to have on the mound?
trust, Russell. And RV's my guy, man. But Russell has been there, done that. He's more of a strike thrower. You need strikes when it gets really tight situations.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know that there's anybody on the staff I trust more than AJ Russell in like what you're talking about, a 3-inning, we're up 1 or 2, get me to the finish line type outing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think Russell would have liked this today. Not the way he pitches to the edges. I don't know if he'd have gotten anything.
No, he probably wouldn't have thrown a single strike, would he?
No, God, that was I was like you. I was looking on the ESPN little strike zone thing. The 4-pitch walk that Phillips had, every single one of them was in the zone.
The leadoff hitter of the game.
Yeah, every single one was in the zone.
Nice little tone setter, and then old Rabbit Ears wants to look into the dugout and give Tony and crew a warning. It's like, buddy, there's 13,000 people here. You don't hear what's being said. You're looking in there. You're looking for it. But
I mean, how do you give 2 warnings?
I'm not going to rant. Well, the second warning was like a player warning when their guy got animated, which let's not be the pot calling the kettle black here. Okay?
Yeah.
What Root did, we've seen it, right? We've seen it. Yeah. It's okay. It's okay, right?
Dole does it twice a game.
If it was our guy, we'd be like, it's just showing emotion. Look, he got our most dangerous hitter, especially most dangerous the last few weeks, to ground into an inning-ending double play. Heaven forbid the guy gets fired up. Now,
from a 3-0 count.
Did he have to point, turn back and say everything to him? No, but I mean, come on.
Yeah. No, I don't.
We're not that soft as a fan base, are we?
I don't. Right? I don't think the fan base has a problem with it. It's just the hypocrisy for how we get treated, and the media talks about us.
No doubt. I think I saw a lot of people. A lot of the immediate reaction to it from our fan base was centered around that. But our fan base also, if you're going to make a remark on it and put your thoughts out there for everybody to see, you need to also acknowledge that you are totally okay with what he did. And also say, we think this is okay. We just want to get our guy, we just want everybody to get to play. And we don't want anybody ejected for chippiness. If, somebody goes over the line and starts fighting, or guys come out of the dugout, or somebody gets hit, like something like that, it's a totally different story. But, I mean, you get a big double play to end the inning, you strike out a guy, hit a home run.
Yep.
Like, do what you're supposed to do and celebrate.
That's what we've done to the sport, man. It's a good thing.
Yeah, right.
Right. 2 quick things, and I'll get off here. Number one, it was pretty funny here, and I think it was Kyle Pearson talked about, he thinks the ump zone's been good. Just call strikes after what was going on in the early innings. And then
Tom Hart.
The gut feel. Yeah.
Tom Hart basically told him, like, he kind of slipped it in there, but it was definitely directed at KP. He was like, well, that was definitely a ball called a strike. It was something like that. Yeah. KP was a little off his game today on the strike zone. He was looking at things a little bit. I think he was just trying to agree with whatever was called, because they do get a lot of flack, especially this time of year with more eyeballs and more impact, on each call. But KP was trying to play Switzerland a little too much, and I think it bit him in the butt.
And their camera angle's weird there. You can't really see the plate, so everything kind of looks off. But, last thing, I think before his career ends here, I think Hunter Ensley's going to have at least one more big hit. And I think it's coming tomorrow, and I think we'll be talking tomorrow night about a Game 3. See you, Will.
Man, I hope you're right, Andrew. Appreciate you, as always, my brother. Matt Dixon, what do you say? Big hit from Hunt tomorrow?
I think if you're going to stick around and potentially win, 2 more, I think you'll need at least one, clutch, run-producing hit from Ensley. Absolutely.
Hey, how was the crowd there after
you need to grind out some runs somewhere and instantly, get. I know you need guys on base for him to do that, but I think if Tennessee's gonna win a game or two, that it will come off Inslee's bat at some point. Yeah,
no doubt. How was the crowd there for the most part today? Did you feel tension, especially at Tennessee didn't create a lot of traffic, but it was weirdly quiet there at certain moments.
Yeah, it was quiet for a lot. I could feel the tension and the nervousness really, kick up a notch when they hit into the first double play. Okay. I think that was like the second or third inning, they left all those guys on base early.
Okay.
And then when Tennessee hit that 2-run homer just kind of out of nowhere, and you have a 2-1 lead in a game, it felt like you should be down like 5 or 6 runs in. You could definitely feel the tension in there, but once Arkansas took the lead, and especially once they added the insurance run late, they were fired up, and it was a good crowd. It's weird. The stadium's really like spread out, like the seats are not on top of you at all, which leads to really good sight lines basically everywhere. Every seat's really good, but it doesn't really hold a ton of noise. But it's a huge stadium. It looks just like an MLB type stadium, just without an upper deck, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, it holds noise well on the field because, like you said, you're pretty well surrounded, so it gets to you. But I can see how if you're in the stadium, then maybe it doesn't. Your section necessarily wouldn't be quite as loud because you're not all on top of each other. But I guess they didn't really have other than the 2-run homer with 2 outs, they didn't have any super loud moments to get.
No, just the one that the Davlon hit that brought in the run was there, but because they didn't do a whole lot offensively either. Just a lot of 2-strike hits, which again is Tennessee's problem, and. I guess that was probably Phillips just leaving that changeup over the plate too much.
Yeah. Not a lot of extra base hits either. Tennessee did a good job of, singles, and the 2-strike ones are frustrating, but some of those were good swings. That Davlon kid is an unbelievable player, Matt. He is so freaking good. Gosh, I
think he's from Canada too.
Yeah, he is. He's Canadian. We talked about him a lot in that first series. He's been a dude for them all year.
He's the guy who I can see getting to the big leagues just because he just has a tie. It's a really tough at bat, and he comes up in the clutch for them a lot.
He does. He ain't who I want to see in the clutch. I'd much rather take my chances with Aloy, maybe chasing a few. But let's go back to the phones, Matt. Garza Law Extra Innings, you're on the air. Welcome in.
Hey, this is Parker from Southern Middle Tennessee.
Hey, Parker from Southern Middle.
Southern Middle Tennessee. As close to Alabama as you can get without kissing your cousin.
There you go.
Yeah. No, we lost the game because of a lot of different reasons, but here's one, and just think about it. Think about early season when Stone Lawless, and I love Stone. I think Stone has an opportunity to be like a Cal start for us next year. But think back when he was in the weekend rotation, and he was good almost every game for 1 run. Every time he was in there, someone would touch home plate because of something either he would do or his connection with the pitcher was off and the pitch wouldn't go where it was supposed to go. I'm not saying it's all his fault. I'm just saying something. And then tonight, a pitch that should have been caught goes out of his glove and they get 1 run. That's what we lose by. I'm just saying the NCAA cost us 1 run tonight. And it just makes me mad because of the hypocrisy of today where, their players can go overboard, or not overboard, because I agree with you. I like how he showed the fire, Root or whatever showed the fire and everything. I like that. Like, I think baseball is more fun whenever you're able to talk and say stuff like that.
Grow the game.
Yep. But, I mean, it's just like when their catcher on Monday can call him a B word, and then he says a F you or whatever, and then, boom, ejected. I mean, that was good for one run in today's game. Anyways, I think we come back, and I think we win tomorrow, and we force Game 3. I really do. We've got Cannon back, and we've got Liam Doyle, who's going to Doyle all day for us on the mound.
What does Doyle all day mean? Southern middle?
Oh, well, I don't know. Every single time Doyle's on the mound and he starts doiling, I tweet that I'm going to Doyle myself. So I don't know.
That's pretty good. Appreciate the call, brother. Let's get you out of here before you get us both canceled. Matt, that's pretty good. Matt, if you had to create a line on VIP play, code T and Tony, by the way, bet $5, get $100 in free bets and a 50% profit boost to use on whatever you want. Code T and Tony. Matt, if you had to create a line on VIP play, also 21 and up in Tennessee to bet, all that good stuff, what would the line on Liam Doyle being ejected in tomorrow's game be? I'm not trying to stir anything up here. This is a lighthearted joke, if you can hear it in my voice. If you had to create a line, what would the line be on Liam Doyle getting ejected tomorrow for something similar of what we saw today, but being treated differently?
Matt, I'm probably like plus 250, plus 300.
Jeez.
Like, it's not likely to happen, but if
That's
it does happen,
likely.
nobody would be surprised.
And plus 250 has got an implied odds of like 35%. 30%.
Yeah, that's about right.
You're
That's
saying
what
one
that's
out of every
probably
3
about-
games that happens tomorrow in alternate universes, 1 out of every 3, Liam Doyle gets ejected? That's not good. This is my nightmare.
It's probably not that high, but
I know
it
probably
will certainly be a game of high emotions if he's out there doiling as our caller said.
That's right.
And just striking guys out with like he did Monday night against Wake, and starts bouncing around on the mound. I could see it getting pretty intense.
That's right. I need to learn how to go doiling, whatever that means. I don't know if I want to learn, but I'm certainly interested. Maybe off air I'll get him to text me and tell me what doiling actually means from an off baseball field perspective. Let's rein this thing back in a little bit, Matt. I say that to say my worst nightmare, and this is in seriousness, my worst nightmare headed into tomorrow is that the umpires get together with the coaches at home plate and say, we're starting the game with a warning. It was too chippy yesterday, and we're the sheriffs, and we have no feel because we didn't play competitive baseball at a high level. And that's not fair of me to say. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. Usually when guys have rabbit ears, the first thing I think of is you didn't play. You don't get it. And maybe that's not fair. Maybe they're just having a bad day. Maybe they're sensitive. Maybe they don't have thick skin. I don't know why you would be an umpire if you don't have thick skin. Irregardless, if they did that and said everybody's starting the game with a warning and Liam Doyle explodes after a strikeout to end the 4th or 5th inning, maybe a guy's on second base, and he so much as peeps his eyeballs across the way at the first base dugout, and he gets a ticky-tack ejection. That is my worst nightmare headed into tomorrow. And I don't want to give anybody any ideas. Not that the umpires should be listening to the postgame show, but it's hard not to worry a little bit. I just really, really hope that they do a good job of letting what is a great showcase of baseball teams in a great stadium on a phenomenal stage play itself out. And it could have been worse today, I guess. I guess it could have been handled worse. But I would love for them to just stay out of the way. And if anybody takes it too far, then address it as necessary. But that's my spiel on that. Let's take a quick break. On the other side, we'll go back to the phones. Matt Dixon and I will talk about keys to the game tomorrow. Besides getting more base hits, I think that's quite obvious, but stick with us. Appreciate all the calls. We've got full phones when I get back, but if you want to give us a shout, just hold and wait. TLD Logistics Hotline, 865-200-5402. Be right back.
Listening to Garza Law Extra Innings, presented by Marcos Garza, your Garza Law firm. We'll get you back to the action here momentarily. Portions today, presented by our friends at TLD Logistics. Online at tldlogistics.com. So much more than a trucking company. First of all, tremendous supporters of your Tennessee baseball Vols. You will see Jim Peters. You will see Kevin Herman. You will see those folks at Lindsey Nelson Stadium, rain, sleet, or snow. But the important thing is TLD Logistics does everything. Whatever your challenges are relating to shipping, you reach out to them. They're going to take care of you. They even helped out the recent Super Bowl, trucking something across the country to them. They can do it for you. And if you are wanting to become an owner-operator, do we ever have an opportunity for you? Check out tldlogistics.com for more information. Also presented by our friends at Simpson's Meats. Simpson's Meats raises and sources their meat on farms, on pasture, on purpose, comfortably continuing a tradition that began in 1888 on Jim Simpson's farm. I'm talking about a beef brand built on quality. I'm talking about, you're going to pay a little more, but you're going to get what you pay for and then some. Steaks, burgers, sausages, roast, chicken. They also have a variety of local offerings at their butcher shop, from milk to honey to jams to eggs. You name it, they've got it. Stop by and taste the best from the Tennessee community. And if you want to buy in bulk, they sell half and quarter cows as well. Steaks make a great gift. Gift boxes available. Ship premium meats anywhere in the world at simpsonsmeats.com. Visit their store in West Knoxville off Level Road and shop there today. Also presented by our friends at Connexial, Knoxville's own transportation and logistics tech company, proud sponsor of the My20 Drive of the Game, right here on Garza Law Extra Innings, revolutionizing your trucking industry nationwide. We want your fleet to be more efficient, our drivers and roads safer. We all want that. Take control of your fleet, improve your safety scores, make drivers happy. KONEXIAL.com, KONEXIAL.com. And now, without further ado, let's get back to the action on our TLD Logistics phone lines. Light them up at 865-200-5402. It's Garza Law Extra Innings. And here's the superstar, Will Heflin.
Back with you on Garza Law Extra Innings. Straight to the phones we go, Matt. I forgot where I was at in order. If I skipped someone, I do apologize. Garza Law Extra Innings, welcome in. Welcome in. 3, 2, 1. You're on the air. Welcome in.
Will, the Thrillbilly Deluxe. What's up, man? It's Roberto.
What's up, Roberto? Thrillbilly Deluxe.
Do you like Thrillbilly?
It's awfully close to Hillbilly, which I.
But you pitched at Tennessee. It works. We embrace that around here.
That's right. Big game, Will Billy. How about that?
Yes. Now we're working on something.
Now.
Is it weird that I'm just not worried at all?
Is it weird that I'm in the same boat, Roberto? Why do we feel this way?
I'm really confident right now.
Why do we feel this way? We had 2 hits, Roberto. Matt, why do me and Roberto feel this way?
Rashid.
Do you feel this way? Or are the two of us just completely blinded by our orange-tinted goggles?
There's not a whole lot that's encouraging from today.
Matt thinks we're blind, Roberto.
Just because the lineup's just not swinging it well right now besides Fisher. But this team was never going to go into Fayetteville and win 2 games and get out of there and go to Omaha.
Exactly.
It was always going to take 3 games. We all knew that.
Exactly. Yep. And
I've said that from the jump. It was Arkansas in 2 or Tennessee in 3. That's what I legitimately believe. I think their middle relief is not nearly as good as ours has been recently. And that's why I think we win game 3. We're going to win tomorrow. Liam Doyle's going to Doyle all over himself or something to that effect. I got to figure out the verb or adverb that is doiling. And then, but I think I feel really confident. I think Arkansas's butt puckering in the 9th inning. Did you hear that place when Fish hit that ball out? I mean, Matt, you were there, right?
Little lemon booty, as Tony would say.
I mean, not a peep.
Uh-oh. A little
not
foreshadowing.
I'm telling you, if we come out tomorrow and win, which I think we do,
that's right.
Monday, you come out in the 1st inning, and Fish does that thing where he gets all mad at one and lights one up and sends it over to right field again. Their buttholes, you won't be able to squeeze a jelly bean up there, buddy.
We were just saving our hits for games 2 and 3. That's all we were doing.
Positive mental attitude. Carry you a long way.
Yeah. I'm not here listening to this Matt Dixon logic. I'm not in the mood for that. What is that?
Dixie has too much logic and reason for this show, right? I don't disagree with Matt that there's not a lot of good, that we're not swinging it well, but I actually thought we played really good on defense today. I think, maybe the worst play we had on defense was Manny Marin. You got to let that ball go, right, Will?
It was going to stay fair, but yeah, you got to let it go.
You're right, it was, but still, you got to let it go, right?
Yeah.
And maybe Gavin Keelan needs to catch that line drive, but that was smoked. I don't know. I guess I'm just a big old sheep, and that's okay. I feel really good about it. I think we're going to put the pressure on them tomorrow. I think Liam Doyle's going to come out, and he is going to be himself, not the way he was last time. It's going to be a series flip, and it's going to come down to game 3 just like last time. We won game 1 with Phillips on the mound. We lost it today. We lost game 2 with Doyle on the mound. We're going to win it tomorrow, and then we're going to squeeze them in game 3. I think they're going to crack. And Wahiwa Aloy, buddy, he put a charge into that, but what a freaking catch by Reese Chapman.
Great catch.
What
Great
a catch.
Play. Great baseball play. Good swing, better play, better catch.
I'm sorry?
Good swing, better catch.
Yeah. Wahiwa Aloy was 0 for 4 with 3 Ks today, by the way. And old boy from Florida State, Lodice, last night was 1 for 5 with 3 reverse Ks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Doyle comes out and lights up tomorrow and just absolutely shuts them down. He's National Player of the Year, too. I know things like that don't matter, but they do matter.
That's the Heisman of baseball. It absolutely matters. We've never had
Todd
one.
Helton didn't even win that, right?
No.
Mark Kotze won it that year, right?
Yeah.
So
nice pull on the Mark Kotze.
Yeah. I was very into mid-'90s Tennessee baseball. Todd Helton's my favorite player ever. And it was like the Peyton Manning effect. It was like, wow, we got screwed then, and we're getting screwed by Peyton Manning, and all that. We're getting screwed for Peyton Manning. It was just like the Tennessee thing over and over again. Well, I found it interesting that you think that they may just blanket a warning before the game. Can you explain to me? I'm not saying you're wrong. Can you explain to me why you think they might do that?
I've seen them do it before when there's a chippy game the day before. And
I didn't think we were chippy at all. Did you?
No, not really.
Like Arkansas was chippy. We weren't at all.
Yeah, they had way more opportunity to be chippy because they got the big outs. But we don't hear everything that's said out of the Tennessee dugout, and I'm sure they were showed their frustration. So they got a balls and strikes argument warning. But in terms of towards Arkansas, probably the least chippy Tennessee's been towards anybody, especially considering the circumstances. But it's hard when you have one hit until 2 outs or 1 out in the 9th inning. So
I agree.
I'm not saying Tennessee was
can't talk a lot.
Yeah, I'm not saying that we need to clutch our pearls. I just think we didn't have the opportunity to chirp back, which is good for Arkansas. Good job. Those guys are trying too. That's what we got to realize is like,
and they're a good baseball team.
Hell yeah, they're the best baseball team in the country. They're the best baseball team in the country. Let's be frank.
Yes.
And Tennessee is right there, just behind them. Does that mean that Tennessee can't go beat them 2 days in a row? No, it's baseball. That's why. That's why you and I feel kind of irrationally confident about it. But they are the top to bottom, combining talent, productivity, and how they're playing currently. They're the best team in the country, in my opinion. Them or Coastal. No. I mean, geez. Coastal. Good
Nation,
Lord.
That's my second team.
Nobody
That's
wants to see them. UNC until today was probably the wagon for me. But Coastal
UNC,
Carolina.
You said?
Yeah, Coastal's won 23 in a row now. They're like 12-4 against Power 4 teams. So Coastal's not the little guy. They have the same amount of national championships as Tennessee. They have one.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Yeah, they're not the underdog. Now Murray State, that's an underdog.
Well, and as a pitcher, you've got to love what Coastal. I'm not here to talk about Coastal, but you got to love what Coastal trots out. Their top three pitchers, their first three guys, their weekend guys, are legit.
Yeah,
legit.
They're tall.
They're all gonna pitch for money at some point in their career if they're not now.
For sure.
Last thing, and thanks, Will, for the time, or as I call you, the where we're going, Thrill Billy.
We'll go Big Game Willie. That was
Big Game Willie.
That was thrown around a couple times in 21, and I really liked it.
Behind that.
I really liked it, but
it's a great nickname.
Yeah,
it's better than what most people call me behind my back.
You can't give it to yourself, which
that's exactly right.
I didn't. Someone else did. I think it was our SID. But go ahead, brother.
I thought Marcus Phillips was pretty good today.
He was. He battled.
I think our pitchers were pretty good today.
Yeah.
I mean, they gave up. They scattered a bunch of hits. That was a bunch of hits to only have 4 runs.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't walk many, from what I remember. And one of the walks was obviously a strikeout that was 4 straight balls. I think the umpire inserted himself a lot. Here's a fun one. Rick Allen was the head umpire, or there was a home plate umpire tonight. I don't know if you knew that. Do you know that man runs an umpiring clinic? He teaches other umpires how to umpire. I think we just discovered what's wrong with college baseball.
What conference is that crew from? Do you know?
Well, he bops around a lot. So I've seen him, I went back and looked, and the latest I could catch was 2000, but he was calling 4 or 5 games for every conference. So I'm not sure. That last I could find on him was 2020. But the thing I found to be interesting as well, he's never umpired in a College World Series, a Division I, College World Series. And literally AI, like Google AI, said he makes it known that his aspirations are to umpire in a College World Series.
Oh. Today's report card
Lord have mercy. Seriously?
Today's report card is not going to help that case.
Roberto. Yeah, not if he's judged against TrackMan. I'm assuming they still do that. I know they do it in pros. Yeah. I don't know if they do it in college or not.
They do.
But
they do. They just don't.
He was so bad.
Yeah,
and he was equally bad, just as bad as the guy was on Monday. I've never seen an umpire as bad as the guy was on Monday. He was actually slightly better than the guy was on Monday. That was the most erratic strike zone I've ever seen. And that was my last point. Thank you for the time. Is you can't hit if you don't know what's a strike, and you can't pitch if you don't know what's a strike.
That's right.
And I feel like in the first 2 or 3 innings, Tennessee didn't know what was a strike when they were hitting and what was a strike when they were pitching. They were just kind of throwing the ball over the plate and kind of hoping that the ball was high enough or low enough or outside enough or inside enough that it wasn't a strike. So I think that if you get a slightly bit better umpiring and Liam Doyle out there tomorrow, we're going to win, and we're going to make their buttholes puckered on Monday. Thanks for the time.
Hope you're right. Go Doyle yourself, Roberto. Appreciate you, brother. Matt Dixon, you with me?
Yeah, I'm here. I think it's funny that today of all days was like the first game in a while where Bargo, especially, and even Chapman, went up to the plate content with taking a strike, and they had the biggest strike zones they've ever had today, and just watched strike one most of the day. Because after Keelan and Fisher each get out on a 1 pitch each, I think the next 5 hitters automatically took the first pitch. It did kind of backfired because the guy was just throwing strikes, or they were being called strikes.
Yeah, he was flipping them in there. He certainly was, which is a caveat to what's seemingly a big zone. When a pitcher just pounds the zone early in the game, like, umpires get into a rhythm, right? And they start to expect it to be a strike, and sometimes they will give a little bit off the plate, and that's understandable, but it was a little excessive tonight. But let's go back to the phones. Garza Law Extra Innings, you're on the air.
Hey, Will, it's Bullet.
Hey, Bullet, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you guys for being on tonight. I have a question. I'm kind of curious. When in a game like this, and this is just a subjective question, and it's kind of your opinion. When Tony goes out to right field after this, what's he telling those guys? I know he's a super fiery dude, but what's he telling those guys out in right field? I know there's no hot mics out there, but you're the closest thing to it. So I'll hang up and listen, and thank you guys.
All right. Thanks for the call, man. I can't say. I went to one super regional as a player under Tony Vitello's tutelage, and we swept LSU in our home ballpark. So I don't know what he's saying after a Game 1 loss in Fayetteville. I would imagine something along the lines of taking the Andrew Fisher swing in the ninth as a little bit of momentum into tomorrow. I would imagine something along the lines of game plan to get the starter out a little bit earlier. Zach Root was able to go really deep. You know, for the most part, Matt, like, Tennessee played a relatively solid, like, it was a good baseball game. This was one of the first games in a while, or really that I can think of in the last 2 months, where I'm like, you know what? I thought Tennessee just got beat today. Maybe one of the ones against Auburn, or maybe, yeah. I mean, really, I'm having a hard time to think of another game where I'm like, you know what? I think we just got beat. Now, it's easy to say that because you played relatively clean defense and you just didn't hit. So, but just every now and then you run into a buzzsaw. And Tennessee's got to do a better job of making him work, finding other ways on. Like, I get that. But I thought there were some good swings that they didn't get rewarded for. I thought there were some swings that they just missed. And it's a cop-out, but that's baseball, Matt. Like, it happens. And so it truly is kind of it's such a nuanced game. Like, I remember as a player thinking after a game where you didn't get very many hits, as a team, I'm thinking, gosh, we're just going to be due for 12, 13 hits tomorrow. And that could be absolutely true. Or it won't be, and they'll struggle again, and we'll probably be on here wrapping up the season. So, I mean, it's going to go one way or the other. The only way to know is to put your pants on and find out.
Yeah, it didn't feel like a typical college baseball game, and you get a lot of, loud swings or loud strikeouts. I think the teams only combined for 15 strikeouts between them. Obviously the low walks, because both pitching staffs just fill up the strike zone, and they had a very generous strike zone today. But you fielded the ball pretty well. You had obviously that wild pitch that our caller talked about earlier was a run. You had Curley kind of misplaying that bloop line drive that kind of fell right in front of his glove. It kind of led to a run. But other than that, Arkansas put the ball in play, and you played pretty good defense behind them. Turned a couple of double plays. Chapman made some nice plays in right. So yeah, it's a good point. It didn't really play out like a typical college baseball game does, but with it being low scoring and not very many mistakes on either side. But yeah, Arkansas was just the better team. Their starter was a little bit better than Phillips, and they got just a few more timely hits. And I guess it would be really demoralizing if Tennessee had thrown Liam Doyle and lost a 3-2 game where you only have 2 hits, but you blow your ace. Tennessee still has their ace to go tomorrow, whereas Arkansas just used theirs. So that is one aspect that I guess does give you hope.
Yeah. Is it too forgiving of me to say that I believe it was Davalon that scored on that ball that kicked away? Is it too nice of me to say that was an unbelievable read as a base runner, and I didn't think when that ball did kick away that it was far enough for them to score on it, and he did anyways?
Yeah, I didn't think it got away enough, and I didn't see a replay. I don't know how quickly Phillips got off the mound, but Davalon beat Phillips to home, and Lawless there was no chance to toss it or throw it. So yeah, for it to have gotten away as little as it did, and for him to easily score there was a really heads up play.
It was. Doesn't excuse it, but again, that's a winning play by them more than it was a losing play by us, in my opinion, because the ball didn't get behind him. It didn't squirt away close to the dugout. It was a perfect read. And the only way that you're getting there on that is if you take your shuffles, continue your momentum, and then break immediately when you see that ball down in the dirt. And if you decide it's not far enough, then you throw on the brakes and go back. But it just seemed like, without being able to see it live or see when he actually decided to break home, that I just felt like it was a perfect read. I couldn't believe how quickly he got there. But let's take one more call and then go take our final break. And then when we get back from the break, we'll have some lines open. So give us a shout, 865-200-5402. Garza Law Extra Innings, you are on the air. Welcome in.
Well, Dig Seats Rusty. What is happening?
Hey, Rusty. What's happening is UFC 316 is tonight.
Money in the Bank, the Savannah Bananas. It is lit for a Saturday night, man.
You a Savannah Bananas guy?
So, let's see here. Let me get my notes out. Boys, if I'd have told you at 4:45 Eastern today that we weren't going to tax the bullpen, and we were going to give up 4 runs total, would you have done cartwheels down the street that you live on, excited for that result?
Matt, you answer.
Yeah. I would have taken holding Arkansas to 4 runs going into today. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's always 4 or less. That's a Frank Anderson philosophy. 4 or less, you give your offense a chance.
Yeah.
And nowadays, it's really 6 or less, to be fair.
Right. Yeah.
Pitching staff.
Four is incredible, especially when we nobody's taxed for tomorrow.
Yeah. Maybe in Omaha, but with a 15-mile-an-hour wind blowing straight out in Baum Stadium, 4 or less, yeah, we'll take that. We just we kept hitting fly balls to right field. That was the wrong corner to hit to.
Yeah. It's that's really the only thing bad about today. I mean, we pitched it well. We played fundamentally sound. We didn't really have any mistakes. I know Stone let the one ball squirt away that you'd like to see him keep in front. But ultimately, we played good baseball. We just didn't hit it well. But, a lot of times good baseball means one team gets 2 hits. There's been a lot of, World Series Game 7's 1-2-1. So can't be mad. Just disappointing to hold them to that few runs and us not doing a little more at the plate. What else? Now the negative on pitching. 5 of their first 7 hits came in an 0-2 or a 1-2 count. And I'm sure you guys know that I've beat this horse to death, but we're throwing way too many hitters' pitches in 0-2 and 1-2 counts. I know that we're not supposed to waste pitches, and Greg Maddox told us not to waste pitches and all that stuff in 0-2 counts. And you don't have to waste it. You don't have to throw it into the, on deck circle. But would it be okay to, I don't know, throw a slider that, catches a little dirt or a fastball that's, higher than the batter's hands? 5 of the first 7 hits come in 0-2 counts. Is that okay?
No. It would be okay to throw a fastball above the hitter's hands, especially when you throw 97, 98 miles an hour.
But we're not calling those pitches.
Phillips did not have command of his fastball today. It was
His
all
breaking ball was much better.
It was all slider changeup, and so he would get ahead with that, and then they would just kind of choke up and battle, and some of them were hung, some of them were just really good swings. But yeah, the two-strike hits are frustrating, but when you're not commanding your fastball, it's tough to get them to chase out of the zone with the other stuff because you just showed them what it looks like shape-wise for a strike.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you can't, yeah. But if you command a fastball and you call it out of the zone in the 0-2, worst case scenario, it's 1-2. You know what? Or if it's 1-2, worst case scenario, it's 2-2. It's not a base hit with a runner that was on second base, or runners on second and third, and they both scored. It's an issue for how great we are. The way we give up hits in pitchers' counts is an issue, and it probably I guess it always will be. Most years we'll outslug it. So anyway,
hey Rusty, I'll tell you this. You and Matt both listen up. If you like high fastballs above the hands with 2 strikes, boy, do I have the guy for you tomorrow.
Right.
Could I interest you in doiling yourself?
Brothers, I doiled myself, or I went doiling with this Broadway chick back in 2003.
All right, that's enough, Rusty. Have a great day, brother. I don't want to get you or me in trouble. I don't want to hear anything about Broadway, Matt. I apologize. I do like Rusty. I didn't mean to drop him like that.
No, we were getting ready to go off the rails there.
Yeah, we were. I was doing him a favor. Rusty, call me tomorrow, brother.
You had a quick hook on him for that one.
Yeah, and
it was deserved.
We got to get to break. That was a good call. He's got a good way of expressing his words, but that one could have gotten bad. And I'm trying to learn from, my Vegas guy, who I also really like, but he did go off the rails a little bit, so I maybe should have had a quicker trigger on him at some point. That's beside the point. Last break on Garza Law Extra Innings. On the other side, Matt, we will dig into tomorrow. We're going to stop reacting to today quite as much, but we'll dig in, really, really dig in. We'll give the folks, they've already seen Gage Wood, but we'll go over him a little bit, and then we may talk about what they're going to do with the lineup, if anything, but hang with us. We'll be right back.
We'll get you back to Garza Law Extra Innings momentarily. I do want to remind you, portions presented by our friends at Performance Medicine. Take control of your wellness, personalized health solutions that fit your lifestyle. You will be so glad that you got out of the rat race and the way you understand healthcare right now, because that's exactly what Dr. Rogers did several years ago. Comprehensive proactive solutions empowering you to achieve optimal health on your term. If you're tired of feeling drained of energy, you're struggling with your weight goals, maybe you dream of radiant skin, maybe you're hoping to start a family, say goodbye to cookie cutter healthcare. PerformanceMedicine.net for more. Check out their YouTube channel at Performance Medicine. Also presented by our friends, my friends and your friends at Alumni Hall. Listen up, baseball fans. Step up to the plate. New gear from Alumni Hall. Don't you dare swing and miss by shopping elsewhere. Alumni Hall absolutely has you covered. You can shop in their 3 Knoxville locations where you'll see the best selection, the top brands for you to choose from all season long. They also have a shop in Bristol, one in Murfreesboro, and for you listening to us around the world, they're online anywhere in the world and available to you at alumnihall.com. The ultimate Tennessee shopping destination is Alumni Hall. And a special shout out to our friends at Dos Equis. Celebrate another successful Tennessee baseball run all season long by going for Dos, Tony Vols. I'm talking about Dos Equis. Lager Especial, a golden Pilsner stout made from the choice of hops, balanced composition, smooth, clean finish. Party guest always invited, never overstays his welcome. Nuanced blend of malts and earth tones, flavorful yet light tasting and smooth. Balanced composition, clean finish. That, my friends, is Dos Equis Cervezas Mexicanas 2025, White Plains, New York. Now let's burn up those TLD Logistics phone lines and get you back to the superstar. I'm talking about the host with the most. I'm talking about superstar Will Heflin. It's Garza Law, extra innings, Tennessee baseball style. Hit it, Will.
That gets me every time. Hit it, Will. Last segment here, Matt. Appreciate you hopping on. Matt is in Fayetteville, for anybody who didn't know. He is boots on the ground.
What else is there to do out here?
That's very, very true, good sir. But I do always appreciate you hopping on, especially after the losses, because like somebody said on X, off the rails makes it interesting, but you know, you got to help me keep this thing dialed in. So anyways, let's go back to the phones. Garza Law, extra innings. Welcome in. You're on the air.
Hey, Will, it's Jason out here in Vegas.
My man. What's up, dude?
What's up, dude? How you doing?
You know, I don't know that I should be doing as well as I am, but I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I kind of do high clientele as far as taxis. I kind of pick up people, and they're sometimes celebrities and stuff like that. I got a guy today. He was a double A. He made it to triple A, but he's part of like a ring of 80s and 90s and late 70s baseball players. If I ever get to talk to you offline, I got a bunch of stuff. I'm not gonna bring it up about some major stars in the history of Major League Baseball, but I got some good stories today about some people that cheat during golf. But anyway, you know, man, I got to tell you, 4-3 today. We held Aloy for the most part. I love the way the slider was working for Phillips. I thought he did really good. I thought he looked really good. I think you have an umpire that actually knows how to umpire. It could have been different, and I'm proud. I'm proud of this team. I mean, you've got a huge drop off in the middle of the lineup, unfortunately, right now, but we're working together, and I love everything that we did today. Other than, you know, we didn't get the W, but I have a question for you. Would it ruin Curley's confidence to take him from shortstop and put Antigua? I know Antigua doesn't have the bat, but he's one hell of a shortstop. Take Clark out and put Curley in at DH.
Jason, you cannot do that. You can't do that.
I know.
You can't do that.
I know you'd ruin the kid, but
no, I just mean from a strategy perspective. I don't think that makes Tennessee better right now. I think it makes it worse. You know, Ariel's extremely talented with the glove, but he hasn't been just completely rock solid when they've used him as a defensive replacement. And Dean's one of your hottest hitters right now. Turned a couple nice double plays. Look, that ball was a spinner that he didn't feel today. Should he have probably made the play? Yeah, but he was a net positive today, and very few people in the Tennessee baseball lineup today can say they were net positive in terms of runs produced versus runs contributed to giving up. So no, I you know, if you're going to change anything tomorrow, Dean Curley is probably third to last place you look.
Abernathy, but I know then you're playing with fire there because if you did move on, you're losing whatever confidence Bargo's got.
Yeah, I don't know if I have the answer. I wouldn't mind seeing Abernathy get an opportunity because he's a really good defender and he can find other ways on. That would shake up the lineup because you're not going to put Abernathy in the 4-hole. Yeah. But we'll just have to see. Matt, since we're talking about it, would you take Bargo out tomorrow if you were writing the lineup? And if so, who would you put in?
No, I think you kind of have to live with it and just kind of hope he runs into one with a guy or two on, because this late in the year, that's just a tough move to make. It'd be a bold move, and if you do it, I wouldn't really be critical of it, but I just think that with Bargo, like, he's played in left for I don't know how many straight games. I just think you kind of have to do that. Just kind of ride with those guys because, like you said, not only are you take him out, but it's who do you put in and how that it really does affect your lineup because he's your 4-hole hitter. But I think we mentioned it maybe in one of the post games last week that you could move Peebles up to 4 to give you that lefty bat there. But other than that, there's not really anything you can do there either. It's not like last year where you're just trying to plug in your DH at the bottom of your order and you can rotate on do it kind of a matchup deal. I mean, this is kind of a key spot in your order, and you've kind of picked your guy and you've ridden with him this long. You kind of have to at least another game or hopefully 2 or 3.
Yeah. Hey, is Fish maybe the most powerful hitter possibly in Tennessee baseball history? You got Sonny Cortez. I told you I did some stuff. I've done a podcast and stuff. I had Sonny Cortez. You remember Sonny from the 98 team?
Mm-hmm.
He actually had the record that Christian Moore broke.
I think just pure power. I mean, Blake Burke has hit the farthest home run I've seen hit in a Tennessee uniform. Christian Stewart. True. Christian Stewart should definitely be in that conversation. He hit 16 in the absolute dead bat, dead ball era, early BB core. Cortez is a good one. Todd Helton hit a lot of home runs. I don't know, I don't know if raw power would be, the term to use for Todd Helton. I mean, he was just a Hall of Famer in terms of
I don't know, man.
Squaring it up.
Yeah,
those were drop fives back then. Those were super hot bats. So it's kind of hard to compare a little bit, but Andrew Fisher certainly in the top power hitters to come through Tennessee conversation. But I think Blake Burke, Jordan Beck, Luke Lipsius could hit balls a mile. Zach Daniels was, and a lot of people didn't get to see his breakout year because it was 2020. But if you're just talking about how far a dude can hit one, I'm not sure many could hit it farther than Zach Daniels. Kavaris Tears could hit it a country mile.
Yeah, it's true.
Got a lot. Had some big power hitters, but Fisher for sure is in that convo.
I was just going to say before I go, two things. What do we need to do to be able to figure out some confidence with this team where it just goes so far down and then it goes back up, and it seems like you're getting a little bit with Clark, you're getting a little bit with Manny Marin. I mean, what's it going to take to get this team to where if we could win tomorrow and force a game 3, what happens? And then the guy I had today took him out. You ever been to Vegas? I took him to Southern Highlands Golf Course.
No, I've never been out there.
It's Trent Jones. I'm not a big golf guy, but it's where Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan, everybody goes. But we were talking, and I know this is Tennessee, but you guys are baseball guys. He was telling me some great Pete Rose stories on how he taught him how to hit, and he got to the AAA or whatever. But Pete Rose in 27 and Shoeless Joe are up for Hall of Fame. And I know this is about Tennessee, but I just wanted to hear you guys' opinion. He thinks there's a shot that Pete could get in. Real quick, do you think with those two things, do you think Shoeless Joe can get in, and do you think Pete can get in? Appreciate you, man, and go Vols, and always enjoy the show.
All right, good hearing from you, Jason. Matt, I'll let you go first. Should Pete Rose be in? I think you and Tony had this conversation. I don't know if you were on that particular radio show that day, but if you already gave your answer, I'm sorry. Give it again.
No, yeah, I think Rose should be in the Hall of Fame. And And I guess Shoeless Joe Jackson can be too. I mean, that was like 100 years ago. So, whatever. I don't think there's any harm in putting those guys in now. I mean, I thought Pete Rose probably should have been in anyway before he died. But I know I'm losing my train of thought. I'm watching the Savannah Bananas, and this is some of the most illiterate stuff I've ever seen. Have you watched this, Will? Like, have you ever sat down and watched them? Like, they're preempting the Oregon State Florida State game for the Savannah Bananas to blow a lead in the 9th inning.
I have not watched them. No,
it is
but
stupid. Did I see where Liam Spence is playing for one of their opponents now? I think I read that like a week or two ago.
Yeah, he's in the league. He plays for the Firefighters.
Okay, all right. Well, I think they're playing the Party Animals tonight. That's a weird connection for him, but that doesn't seem like it would fit him. But hey, he's playing ball or whatever this is considered.
Yeah, he's doing it.
Liam Doyle thinks these guys are absolutely insane.
Right. I don't know where I stand on the Pete Rose stuff. And it kind of puts me in a weird spot considering my profession. But, I don't know that there's any way. I guess it's pretty widely accepted that he never bet against his own team, only bet on them. So, that definitely makes a difference to me. I just don't know if you can. I don't know if you can let him in because of the standard that you've set is kind of like a no tolerance policy, if you will. So I see both sides. I think if it were up to me, I would probably just say put him in. But I certainly understand, the Hall of Fame's perspective on it and trying to uphold the integrity. But it's a different conversation from steroids, but kind of similar. It's weird. Now, Shoeless Joe, I think everybody kind of agrees that he was not in on the deal at all. His stats back that up. He should never. It shouldn't have taken this long to put him in. I think they should have just put him in. But I guess now, we're so far removed. There's no way of ever truly knowing. But anyways, leave it to Jason to get us off the rails. I'm not surprised. Let's go back to the phones. TLD Logistics Hotline. Welcome in. You're on the air.
Hey, this is the Doyler from Southern Middle Tennessee again.
Yo.
What's up? Off the rails. Get us off the rails was not what I was hoping for before I called in, but no, you were talking about golf and stuff earlier. I saw you had your Titleist hat on. I was out in my front yard listening to you, and I bladed a 60 iron straight into my neighbor's house. So that's what I'm dealing with. But no, I just had a couple things that I wrote down. The different ways that you can use Doyle. Since we've used it all show, I just want to. There's Doyle as in just the verb, and then there's doiling, which is the present tense.
Okay.
And then there's I've doiled myself. I doiled myself last night is the past tense. And then the doiler would be I guess a noun / adjective for someone. Liam Doyle is the ultimate doiler. So I guess I just figured I'd call back in and share some knowledge on how it needs to be used,
I think we're all appreciative and can use that information and move forward accordingly. Whether we're doiling ourselves or just doiling in general, let us all doil together tomorrow in Fayetteville. Is that kind of how it's supposed to go?
That's absolute perfection. Perfection will happen. And look, I'm just glad. I'm only a year younger than you, so I'm glad I have the same maturity level. It has to be taken seriously. There's a maturity level when you're doiling yourself and stuff. So I just wanted to share that, and I'm glad we're all on the same page. Real quick though, I have a serious question. If we had if you were the coach of the Tennessee Volunteers, which I hope doesn't happen because we love Tony Vitello, but if you were the coach tomorrow and you were told you had to take out Dalton Bargo, which love Dalton Bargo, dude, I just, he's not seeing the ball right now.
Mm-hmm.
If you had to take him out to start the game, who do you put in? Because I'm stuck. The fastest three choices that I can think of are Jay Abernathy, Newstrom or whatever his name is.
Yeah,
and then
Chris Newstrom.
Blake Grimmer.
Yeah. I'd probably go Grimmer first for the bat. And
he's a lefty, right?
Right, and they're throwing a right-handed pitcher. So it'd either be Jay or Grimmer for me. What about you, Matt?
Yeah, it'd be Abernathy. And then I guess you could use those other guys, either Newstrom or Grimmer, based on who the pitching is. Although I think Grimmer's it'd be Newstrom versus a lefty, Grimmer versus a righty. So, but yeah, I would put Abernathy out there because I think he's a really good defender, and like you kind of said, Will, he gives you a different way he can get on base by bunting for a hit, and just his speed being a factor. Maybe you could make that and take some extra bases. So I would do it. If I had to make the move, I'd put Abernathy out there.
I agree. The only downside to Abernathy, and I think this is just this year, I don't think he has the power bat not even enough to get over a fence. Like, I'm sure he has in BP, but I'm talking about pressure situations. And, but at the same time, I do think Dean he's been pretty locked in at the plate lately. And if I'm not mistaken, Dean is 5-0, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, Dean's coming in right after him. Jay Abernathy is good. If you just tell Jay to get on base, he can do that for you. I mean, at a high percentage. So, yeah, I was thinking Abernathy too, but at the same time, I'm the type. I've watched so much Tennessee baseball. I'm like, man, I don't want to ever take out somebody who has home run potential. So, I don't know. Anyways, I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good one.
All right, man. You too. Appreciate you. Matt, that's hilarious. Had to come back and make sure we got squared away, which glad he did. That's interesting stuff. I never thought of Doyle. I never thought of Doyle
shanking
as
a 60-degree up against his neighbor's house.
Yeah, tough deal there. But no judgment. No judgment. Golf is hard, that's for sure. Garza Law Extra Innings, welcome in. You're on the air.
I think we should implement a new rule: no double doling and no double dipping.
That's right.
So, Matt, Matt, what was your thoughts your first time at Baum Walker? What did you think about the atmosphere, the stadium, just your overall experience out in Vietnam?
Vietnam.
It's an impressive stadium. Obviously seats a bunch of people. But there wasn't a ton of reason for them to get loud at times. But I thought it was cool. Maybe a tad bit underwhelming, if I can admit that. But no, I thought it was it's a really cool setup. The way they have it set up, it's really good seats basically anywhere you're at. So I think that's pretty cool. But it's really like spread out. Like it doesn't feel like they're on top of you at all.
Yeah, they're kind of removed. They're not like the high and tight, I guess I would say, at Lindsey Nelson. I did think the flags were cool. Like looking around in the outfield when they had the flags up, that was kind of cool. Like you, maybe it was it just wasn't. I was a little bit underwhelmed. It's beautiful, great layout. Wasn't as loud as I expected, and the atmosphere wasn't nearly as loud and crazy as I expected. I was a little, to use your word, I was a little underwhelmed as well.
I think part of that was the game flow, though.
Yeah.
It wasn't really a crazy game.
No, I mean, when you hold the other team to no hits through 5 and, no base runners, they felt like the lead felt a lot greater than it was. And then Tennessee kind of snuck back into it at the end.
question for you, and I think I know the answer. I think I just read a tweet. I found it very shocking that Elander and Vitello complained about Root's exploits, but now I see, because I thought that was very odd. Why would we complain about stuff that we do? And I'm like, let live and let live. Why? That's let the guys play. I don't think anything that Root did was out of character or was out of bounds. I just thought I was very surprised that Elander in particular argued about Root's outburst. What are your thoughts on that? And then I'll just add, I see that in the interview, Vitello said he didn't have any issue with it. His reaction was more PTSD from what happened last week with he didn't come out and say it, but obviously he was talking about Cannon Peebles. But would love your thoughts about that reaction, particularly with Elander. That surprised me.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as Vitello, and not just to be a sheep, but I said it as soon as we got to talking about it. It's like, from a philosophical perspective, like, I don't really care. That's not what I would have done as a pitcher, and I think it was a bit excessive, but a bit excessive as you're going to your own dugout. So what? You know what I mean? Like, he was barking at him across the way, but nobody could hear him. The only reason that we know what he said is because the cameras were on him, right? Fisher probably wouldn't, they didn't really show Fisher. I don't know if Fisher acknowledged him or even looked back at him or what. But, to see Elander get upset, it's obviously because of what had happened to his position. Catcher, Cannon Peebles is probably who he works with most closely on any given day at Tennessee, because he coaches the catchers and does the hitting, and I know Peebles is his guy, and he didn't get to play today because of something that was way more minor. And that's my whole issue with the deal, is that there's no real rule, and I don't know that I want them to write a rule, because if they write a rule, they're going to be sticklers about it, and we're all going to hate it. So the way it is right now is kind of, wishy-washy, but it's certainly better than if they wrote in the guidelines that if you say a vulgar word to an opposing team, it's an automatic ejection. You know what I mean? Like, we certainly don't want that, Matt. So, I don't know. What do you think? Like, am I glossing over this? Like, was it a bigger deal there in person than we kind of saw from how it was portrayed on television?
No, it wasn't. It was an incident that happens a lot in the sport. Whether we can argue where that's right or wrong. It's I'm not a big fan of it either, like you. But it's what goes on in the sport. It's not going to escalate into anything else, which I think the umpires are always scared that there's going to be a brawl, that somebody's going to get earholed with a fastball their next at bat, and that just never happens.
No.
So the game kind of regulates itself, but it is kind of a double standard that, I mean, and if we're being honest, Tennessee created it on their own. They brought it upon themselves because I would say 90 to 95% of fans' first exposure to Tennessee baseball was probably 2022, and that team was just out of control. And Vitello was a lot more out of control then. So that's just who this team's persona is to the vast majority of fans. And I think the umpires have been swayed by that as well. And Tennessee gets a really quick hook with whether it's warnings or ejections, whereas most games and in most teams, they're able to manage that a lot easier than Tennessee is, because I don't think I've watched a game in the tournament where a dugout hasn't been given a warning, or whether umpires haven't told a team to calm things down. But it does seem like with Tennessee, there's a little bit of a double standard, and that's probably what Vitello is upset about, because it did cost him Cannon Peebles today. And maybe Peebles makes the stop on that wild pitch that scored a run, and maybe Peebles has a good swing against the lefty starter that gives you a run. Like, who knows? But it does seem like that's where Vitello and them are frustrated at, is they're not given any leeway where a lot of times everyone else is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. I would say in person, Will, to your question, a lot of the Arkansas fans around me didn't even know what happened. I had to explain to them. So it was a real non-issue in person. I haven't seen the TV coverage, but I'm sure they, based on the tweets that I've seen, some of the quick replays, I'm sure TV went a lot more in depth with it than what we saw in person, because if you weren't really paying attention, it was easy to miss. How does a 84 mile per hour exit velocity that supposedly went 312 feet leave the yard? How windy was it to left field? I couldn't see much on the from my perspective.
It was blowing straight out to left.
Yeah, that was the
It looked
weakest
like Margot was
home
set
run
up
I've seen.
in front of the warning track when he kind of first was tracking the ball, and then it just kept carrying and carrying.
Yeah.
So that one, like Fisher's the center in the first, and Inslee's to right, and I guess the fourth were much harder hit balls, but they were just hit to the wrong part of the park.
Yep.
Well, 4-3. I feel confident with Liam tomorrow. It's again, like we said, it's house money. I will say, to your point, real quick, Matt, that you brought up, a lot of fans' first experience. Well, my first experience since the Todd Helton era, there was some guy called Heffy pitching, or Heff, against Arkansas on a Saturday in 21, a beautiful Saturday that they finally opened up Lindsey Nelson post-COVID. I took my family, and the guy was lights out through like 5 2/3. He was pitching a no-no. And then Max Ferguson came and hit a walk-off, and I was hooked. I called the ticket office that Monday and said, put me in for season tickets. And I don't know what happened to that pitcher, but he was lights, freaking out. It was pretty sweet. Guys, keep up the great work. Love the show.
Yeah, too much double doiling. That's what happened. Appreciate you, though. Matt, let's bring in our next caller. Garza Law Extra Innings, welcome in. You are on the air.
Willie, long-time listener, first-time caller. Love what you do. Couple comments here. Number one, what the last caller said. I was watching TrackMan on the first batter of the entire game. Mm-hmm. All 4 pitches were in the zone, according to TrackMan. So that just started us off right then and there. But that's all I'll say about the umpire. It was kind of back and forth both ways. You could see, both sides not very happy with the strike zone. So, not much to say there, but certainly the SEC can improve in a little bit of their umpiring. But the other thing I want to say is a lot of Arkansas hits were just, I don't know if I want to say seeing eye singles because they were barreled, but I mean, they were just finding grass all over the place. That's just kind of how the game goes sometimes. So, may swing in our direction tomorrow, may swing in theirs, but not much you can do about that. And you got Doyle on the mound tomorrow. I'm not sure if I would be too panicked about anything. You had 2 hits against, double digits, and you still stayed in the game. I'm just not so sure that we should be panicked about anything, especially again with Doyle up again. But the last thing I'll leave you with is, I just want to say you do a great job with the show. I think TB did a phenomenal job bringing you in. So love what you guys do. Can't wait to hear tomorrow.
All right, appreciate you, sir. Fair points there, Matt. Fair points from longtime listener, first-time caller. Didn't get a name, but sounds like people aren't panicking, which is not exactly what I thought this post-game show would go like, but that's certainly how I feel. I know you're concerned, and being down 1-0 in a series is obviously concerning, but Tennessee will face their second elimination of the season tomorrow. And if they're able to get through that, then they'll face their third. But I still think it's a bigger opportunity in front of them. And they didn't look... I don't know, the demeanor of the team looked fine to me. Like they didn't look nervous.
I thought they handled it well. Obviously, they've been there before and actually played well there before. Even though you lost the series, your bats kind of came alive there. So I thought both teams might have been a little tight early. It seemed like both pitchers were shaking off signs a lot more than usual. And then there was just some really bad swings and takes. But I think some of that might be attributed to the poor strike zone more than anything. But no, I thought Tennessee would handle the moment. They were ready for it. They didn't go out there and just, kill themselves and beat themselves and give up free bases left and right. And, had some competitive at-bats. You just didn't get results from them. But, it's never going to be easy for this team. This team's not going to make it easy on themselves. So, they weren't going to go out there and win 2 games in a row and just get the Omaha. That was never going to happen. So, you got your ace going tomorrow. And if you get that, you're in a winner-take-all game with your season on the line. And that's really, with how this season's gone and with how many losses this team's racked up, that's really all you can ask for, is to just be in this spot. And you still have your ace in the hole, so to speak. And, maybe you can put the pressure on Arkansas and make them, do what they've done in the postseason for four of the last 5 years when they're playing at home. Because I think that crowd was ready for it today when Tennessee took the lead. That crowd was like, oh no, here we go again. They were and I think they were kind of expecting it, to be honest.
They were ready to be hurt. It definitely seemed like they were ready to be hurt. But Matt, we're going to wrap it up here, man. I appreciate your time a ton.
All right. Yeah. Let's hopefully it's not a season ender tomorrow. And we're trying to figure out how we can get 27 outs on Monday, tomorrow on the post game.
Yeah, that'll be fun. That'll be really, really fun. If Tennessee wins tomorrow, it'll be extremely fun to look at it scientifically, dissect it, figure out how we're going to take home a all-deciding Game 3. But tomorrow we're doiling. So wherever you doil, make sure you doil to your fullest potential. I'm still not completely sure that I know what that means. But I do know what Garza Law Extra Innings means. And that is a lot of fun. And, regardless of whether or not we win or lose, I appreciate everybody taking the time to chop it up with us or just listen in, whether or not you call. Huge thank you to Tony Basilio, as always, who's just entered the Ray Mears studio. We'll be back with you tomorrow. It's a 2 p.m. game. It'll probably be a 5:30, 6 p.m. We'll say 6 p.m. Go live. Right after the first pitch. You know where to find us. I'm Will Heflin. This is Garza Law Extra Innings. We'll be back tomorrow. Same time, different time, same channel. Thanks for tuning in. Good night. I'm delirious. Go doil yourself.
Among those 6, it's because I am in Nussmeier.
Hang on. Better hit tomorrow. I got a play.
Garza Law Tennessee Baseball Extra Innings, presented by the Garza Law Firm, online at garzalaw.com. Call in 865-200-5402. That's the TLD Logistics Hotline. We're live after every Super Regional game. tclub.team, Xspaces, Twitch, and YouTube. Back with you as always, Will Heflin. Tennessee drops Game 1 in Fayetteville to the Arkansas Razorback Hogs. 4-3. Tennessee had 2 hits in the game. They were both homers. One of them was a solo shot in the 9th by Andrew Fisher. One of them was a 2-run homer by Dean Curley. Arkansas had 1 homer in the game. It was a 2-run shot. 84 miles an hour off the bat to left field. Might be the lowest home run exit velo I've ever seen, but that gave them a 3-2 lead. They tacked on one, I believe it was the 6th or the 7th. A 2-out single by Charles Davalon.